Girl, I put on some mascara.
Your eyebrows look amazing.
Yep. Eyebrows are on point.
Yeah. See, you have that hair where it's just like, it's so voluminous, all the time.
Love-hate relationship.
Claire, have you had a lot of listeners like use you? I'm so curious. I never get a chance to ask you.
I have a lot that reach out, and I've maybe seen like 3 or 4 come in the last couple months, which is pretty high. Say like a direct, I heard you on the Big Wedding Planning podcast, and I can't think off the top of my head how many of those booked or if it worked out with timelines, but I'm definitely getting people reaching out.
Yay! Okay, good. I'm happy to hear that. Okay, cool. All right. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have the outline I put together.
Yes, ma'am. I made some notes.
With a shit ton of questions. Oh, look at you. Okay, good. There's a lot of questions here. Okay, so we're already recording, and we can jump right in. If I'm just gonna be quiet for a second, and I want you to say hi. I am, and I'm from, and I do, and I'm the owner of, or however you want to introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Claire White with White Ink Calligraphy from Nashville, Tennessee, but serving clients nationwide. White Ink is a calligraphy studio, but also offers in-house printing, graphic design, and digital services, assisting our clients from save the dates all the way to their wedding reception and everything in between.
Yes. Claire is an old friend of the Big Wedding Planning podcast. We met in 2018 in Nashville.
Whew.
In your old little cute house.
Yeah.
Before you became a big homeowner. Although, did you own that house?
No, I think a lot of people, no, I did not. But it was one of those perfect rental houses that you like never want to let go.
It was so cute.
Yeah.
It was in a cute neighborhood, had that front porch. We sat in the living room, watched you sit at the coffee table and do your fancy calligraphy, wrote out the Big Wedding Planning podcast. We drank a lot of wine.
Yes, we talked
kind of like
chicken.
We talked about hot chicken. We talked about deep life things.
Yes.
Remy was there in the middle of it all. It was so much fun. And every time yesterday I was talking to my friend who does my hair, and she's like, have you ever been to Nashville? We're going to Nashville. I'm like, yes, I love Nashville. I love it so much. I want to go back. It's so fun.
It's such a great city, and it's a huge wedding industry city. A lot of
huge.
Really big. A lot of destination weddings here, but also just a lot of brides in Nashville that want the big weddings. So,
and a shit ton of bachelorette parties happening over there.
Oh yeah. we call them woo girls. Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember somebody telling us it was like one of the biggest, but for weddings, like destination wedding cities in the US, which
yes, that plus I think we're number 2 for bachelorettes in the US, next to Vegas.
Which I'm going to next week or this weekend. Going to Vegas. Going to Vegas. Okay. All right. We got to get down to it. So Claire, I reached out to our Facebook community and just put one quick little post like, hey, I'm doing a recording with, someone who does print materials, invitations, any questions? I got so many questions.
Yeah.
So we haven't done one of these episodes since the pandemic. So this is one of those where we're like updating, and there are a few pandemic COVID related questions here, which I know are on a lot of people's minds right now, especially those who are engaged, those who are planning their weddings. They're planning their weddings for next year. potentially even later in 2022, which like, good luck to you if you are. But this isn't just about invitations. This is about all sorts of print materials of which you do and people have at their weddings, from save the dates to invitations to escort cards, place cards, custom menus, friggin' signage, the whole nine.
Right.
Okay, let's jump in.
You know what? These questions are great because they are definitely, they hit like the top FAQ for all of our clients.
Oh, good. Okay.
They're not like, these are great questions. I went through all of these before our call today. I have some notes.
Okay.
And I'm ready to get started.
All right. I'm gonna read it and you're just gonna like boo, 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 beep, 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 rapid fire.
Okay.
Friggin'
and if
answers.
I go on a tangent, you'd be like, Claire, calm down.
Okay.
Okay.
Claire, we've only got an hour. Okay. Here we go. This is from Chava. Any tips for creating your own, you're like, DIY, really, Michelle? Your own invitation or invitation suites. We want to design the invitation ourselves, but how to best execute once we have the design. Now, I reached back out to her and said, can you elaborate? And she said, what cardstock would you recommend? She's been trying to research local printers, but it's hard to tell what will be nice. Also, any specific tips on how to utilize what is this, circuit or Cricut or anything to avoid going with these devices? What is that?
Okay, so a Cricut machine is something you can buy at your local craft store, like a Michael's.
Okay.
And it essentially will do like a vinyl cut for you or a template for you. I don't have one. I don't know how to use one. It is for true like DIY crafters. If you are thinking of getting one for the first time for your wedding invitations, I would say don't do it because yep, that's just where my head goes.
Okay.
If you are an avid Cricut user and you know how to use it, you know its capabilities, and you are DIYing everything, have at it. Right. So a lot of the people you see on Etsy are women sitting at home with their Cricut machine and they can pump out these things. So that is always an option. I don't know enough about it. We don't use Cricut machines. Okay. What cardstock would you recommend if you're DIYing invitations? 110 pound or heavier.
Okay.
Anything with texture is always going to look more luxe. If you are trying to get your own paper and work with a local printer, have a candid conversation with your printer about what they can use. Sometimes they keep the paper themselves and they'll use the paper that they have in stock and they'll let you come in and touch it and feel it. But also you have to keep in mind local printers generally work with clients like their local stationers that have a high volume, and their attention is generally given to those kind of clientels and not the one-off invitation project printing 100 invitations.
Got it.
So if you have a friend who is a graphic designer or works in the printing world, lean on them if you're trying to DIY your invitations. If you have a fancy printer at home, you can always print digitally on your own cardstock and true DIY and true cut your pieces. But I always tell my clients that are trying or thinking of going that DIY route, it's going to be a lot more time.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you're going to spend more money than if you went with a professional because you are troubleshooting a lot of these things.
Yeah. I think that's with any DIY project with weddings. It's like, how much of what, how much is your time worth?
Yes.
Person planning their wedding. And when you run into these hiccups, they can really take weeks to figure out, and you're going to end up calling a professional either way. And then it's just kind of like, so if this is your jam and you love DIY, go for it. This is great. And some people are just like, oh, I'm in it. I'm doing it. And they do it. And I'm impressed. I'm like, damn, okay, good. And then a lot of times I hear from people like, I give up, just find me a professional. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, because ultimately at the end of the day, you don't want it to look like a third grade craft project, right? Like you want it to look professional, even if you DIY'd it.
Right.
So there's a lot of tutorials on YouTube, certain stationers that assist with DIY. You can find people on Instagram, but we see a lot of clients that go the DIY route, regret it, jump on board with a professional, and then they're paying rush fees.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
then
not
you're
good.
getting into like mucky water. And that's what I mean. Like you could lose money in the end
Right.
than what you originally budgeted.
Okay. Time out, Veronica. I hear your lovely man in the background. Is he on a call?
Let me go shut that door. Hold on.
Okay. Okay.
I'm so sorry. This is two of us working from home life.
Oh, I'm very well versed on that. I kicked my husband out of my office. He now uses the front room. I'm like, no more. I can't.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one from Anna Maria. Very simple question. Ways to save money on custom invitations. Any tips for that?
Yes, I love it. And this is a great question. If you are wanting to go the custom invitation route and trying to save money, generally there's going to be something in that stationer's portfolio that drew you to them. So you could ask the stationer if they have semi-custom invitation suites available that are already pre-designed, that fall into their portfolio style. And that is a way to save money. Like White Ink doesn't have a semi-custom line, but if we had a client say, I love this invitation suite that you guys did and you posted about it on Instagram on this date, we'll go back and look at it. We keep all of our files. The client doesn't own that artwork. We own it.
Mm-hmm.
So we can reproduce it with that client's name and colors and just use the same template.
Oh,
so that's a way to save money, and that would reduce a digital design fee. It would reduce proofs going back and forth between the stationer and the client.
got you.
We save time, client saves money.
So it was a custom template for someone maybe a year ago, and now you're going to pull it out from the archives and input just the new data into it. And then they're getting that beautiful custom suite that you created.
Yes.
Awesome. Great. Fabulous.
I think that's a great answer to that question.
That's a really good answer. Simple and straightforward. Okay. From Hope. What is the best way to find postage that will complement your invitation suite without the ability to customize stamps? Do you ever have issues with return at, okay, this is like another question, right?
Yeah. So
let's
break it down.
Let's start with that one.
Yeah, that first sentence, a lot of people may or may not know this. I don't know, but there used to be an option to customize your postage where you could upload a photo of like your dog or your engagement photos to the actual piece of postage itself and have that printed through Zazzle.
Remember.
Like
yeah.
You can't do that anymore. The post office has shut that down.
Oh.
So I think that's what she means. How can you get a piece of postage that will complement your invitation suite now that we can no longer customize the postage? You see a lot. So first off, the post office releases new postage quarterly, semi-annually, all the time. They have some really great stuff out right now. But when they remove stuff from their rotation, it becomes like technically a vintage piece of postage. So, the beautiful rifle paper co postage that was floating around in 2020. That's no more at the post office, I believe, but you can find it on Etsy, sometimes on Amazon, or with the vintage postage dealer. Vintage postage is anything that is no longer in rotation.
Okay. So it doesn't matter how old it is. It could just have stopped going into rotation a few months ago.
Yeah. And I think that's the misconception. A lot of people think vintage postage means it's from like the 1940s and it looks old.
Yeah.
But it could just be like a couple years out of rotation.
Okay.
And it's a lovely piece that would match your suite great.
Yeah.
And I do want to put this red flag out there to your listeners because this is new in the stationery
I
world.
saw your post. Was it yesterday or the day before?
Yes,
I was all, oh no.
I had a client reach out and she said, I'm looking at postage on Etsy because it's expired. It's older postage that's no longer in rotation. And she's like, it's ridiculously cheap. And I don't know what the catch is. And before I could even catch the email, she's like, I think I'm going to go ahead and get it. It's counterfeit, I'm sure. And other stationers are in the same day, I kid you not, in our Facebook groups are like, hey, there's counterfeit postage rolling around. I've put this under a black light. I've compared it to regular postage. This was purchased off Etsy. Other people confirmed stuff purchased off Amazon was counterfeit.
Oh no.
But the other side to this is that we don't think the post office has the manpower to even determine what's counterfeit and what's not. And I really think stuff is just getting delivered anyway. I would obviously never tell anyone to buy counterfeit postage, but if you have and you've mailed stuff out and you're like, oh my gosh, I bet I had counterfeit postage, I think it might still get delivered.
Oh, really? But that's a huge risk.
Well, yeah, and it's fraud. And like the person who's selling it should be, whatever. But like, if you buy it unknowingly and you mail it out and you're listening to this right now and you're like, oh, that was me, I'm that person, I think it might have still gotten delivered, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to be cautious, if you haven't bought postage, to go through a reputable postage dealer. And I have a list if you're ever interested in that.
Oh, where's the list? Where's the list?
I'll email it to you so you can include it in notes.
Yes, please email it and we will put a link to it or a PDF or whatever on the show notes. That would be fabulous.
Yes. So yeah, that's just something to keep out about postage. Keep in mind. And the next part of
wait, can I say one quick thing?
Yeah.
About that? You know how when, depending on what colors you're doing, certain times of the year, we have holidays. Right now, it's February when we're recording, Valentine's Day. So this is going to probably release in March, so you're kind of late. But maybe St. Patrick's Day, maybe you're doing green, like finding certain holidays before your wedding happens, in that year leading up, go to the post office and see what is out there and maybe like snatch up stamps in that color scheme or something that you like that would go really, really cute with your invitations. That would be what I would do.
Yeah.
But I'm not an invitation person.
Well, and that's a great idea. Something also to keep in mind with that, not all post offices carry all the postage that is available. So if it's any kind of, I don't know, some post offices don't carry wedding postage.
Right.
So I always tell my brides, do it online. You're going to see the largest selection on the USPS website.
Oh, okay. Yes. And I hate going to the post office.
It's going to save time at the post office. And if I could have a conversation with the Postmaster General of the United States,
well, he must be listening. So go ahead.
Right. So beyond all the troubles we've had with the Postal Service recently, it drives me bonkers that we have to pay postage and shipping fees to get postage delivered to us.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. It drives me crazy. I'm like, oh, okay, great. You're making money twice. Okay, that's fine. So that's my big pet peeve. But so you'll pay shipping to get your postage delivered to you. And I tell my brides, usually it takes about 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. Okay. Claire, but you know what? The other thing is like, how would I know? How would I know how much postage I need? Because some of the invitation suites are heavy.
Yes. And that is a question down here that we have from Bridget.
Oh, let's go right to it then. Bridget, the whole USPS mailing process, anything we should know about weight, stamps, hand canceling? I know I've heard that term before, but think it's more expensive.
Yes. Okay. If I walk into my local post office for a client and I am mailing out her wedding invitations and I say I want to hand cancel them. That means I'm canceling out the postage with one of their physical stampers, so the postage can never be used again. And it also puts the post office on notice not to run the beautiful invitation through their machine. So you're not going to get that ugly barcode at the bottom.
Yes, exactly. That's the whole reason people want to hand cancel.
Yes, it is not foolproof, right? The post office is like, we'll do this here at our location, but when it goes to the next location, I don't know what's going to happen. It's not
interesting.
They don't guarantee it won't go through a machine, but some post offices will tell my clients, we don't hand cancel. The post office doesn't do that anymore. But my post office at 37206, her name is Lisa. She will let me hand cancel for days. And in my stuff, when I ship from my post office, I know it works. It always comes in beautifully.
What part of Nashville is that?
That's in East Nashville. That's 5 Points.
Which is the coolest part of Nashville.
Yeah.
East
And
Nashville's cool.
I tell all my clients to go there, and Lisa is like, I had one of your brides come in the other day. So she definitely gets, tips here and there, but she is amazing. And it really, when I talk to other stationers, it seems like we all just kind of have that one person that is like looking out for us.
Yeah.
Like the Postal Service. So if you are wanting to do this yourself, just have a candid conversation with your post office about hand canceling. And if they say they don't do it, walk out the door and go to another post office, is my opinion. They're lying. And yeah. I will also say some post offices require extra postage for hand canceling. Mine does not. Some post offices require, I've heard this, extra postage for like a wax seal. My experience is that if it is a certain weight and it fits in this little hole that's not a parcel size, you can hand cancel and mail it out and it will arrive beautifully. Regarding weight and stamps, always go more if you're weary of like not having enough, right? So if you have just an invitation and say just a details card, your people are RSVPing online, you don't have like all the accoutrement in the envelope, do one stamp. If you have an RSVP card, a RSVP envelope, an invitation, a wax seal, maybe a map or a ribbon or something, put 2 on there. We get clients that are like, hey, how much does my suite weigh? And I'm like, let's just expect it to weigh a lot. If we know you have a lot of pieces, let's put 2 stamps on it. If you get to the post office and they say you need more, let's put more. But it's, we've learned that different post offices have their own rules, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so good, Claire. See, this is the benefit of working with someone like you, who is a professional, print material. What do you call yourself?
So I'm a calligrapher. I call myself a calligrapher.
You're a calligrapher, but yeah, you personally you do calligraphy. Yeah. But
I own a business that provides stationery services.
Services.
Yeah. So my stationer that Townley, you know Townley?
Yes, your sister.
My lovely sister that does all of the printing and graphic design.
Hi, Peppy.
I'm so
That's
sorry.
okay. My dog does it all the time.
So yeah, my stationer is a part of the team, but I'm the one answering a lot of these questions as well. So I've learned a lot from her and her trial and errors. And at the end of the day, I'm like, I just write pretty letters and read emails.
Yeah. All right. Next. Okay. So there was a second part of that question. That was, oh crap, I lost it.
Regarding the return addressing and printing on the back.
Oh yeah. Do you ever have issues with return addresses printed on the back of envelopes being sent back instead of to the intended recipient because it isn't on the front in the upper left-hand corner? Ew, I like it on the back.
It's always on the back.
Okay.
let's always, invitations should always have printing the return address on the back. And if your post office returns that, we're burning the post office down. Like that's
Unbelievable, people.
I've never had that happen.
Okay.
So please do not ever worry about the printing on the back.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing is to make sure that the printing is on that back flap.
Yeah.
And that the font is a little smaller than your mailing address font.
Okay. So Hope, if this has happened to you, go use another post office. Don't go to the same one, but you're good. You're good to go, Hope.
Yes, Hope. We're here for you.
I hope it works out. That was so bad. That was a dad joke. Okay. From Laura. What's the best way to address invites in the modern age regarding lots of married friends who did not take their partner's name, plus which names come first? And do you include kids? Okay, these are such a common question. How the hell do I put like Mr. and Mrs. Bob Johnson, or, like, or they're not married? Like, talk to us. Tell us all of the ways.
So, okay, hang with me. If you don't get something, just tell me. Be like, stop, Claire.
Okay.
But you have your traditional ways of doing things via Emily Post, right?
Yep.
Or the Crane book of wedding etiquette.
Okay.
And that is very black and white. And those books do not account for modern day addressing.
Yes.
For example, someone who, is, okay, well, hold on, scratch that. Let me dive into this. So if you have a unmarried couple living together and they have children, or you have a transgender individual and you're not sure of whether they go by a Mr. or Mrs.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things.
The pronouns. Yeah. Right.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. Pronouns. There is not like, so, okay, Michelle, I used to be an attorney. I still am an attorney.
Yes.
And the law is 10 years behind technology.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That is something that we always say, like in the courtroom, when we talk about Facebook and evidence, that is something that is like foreign to the courtroom, right? We've been on Facebook for 10 years. So when I think of the etiquette role in the etiquette arena of wedding invitations, I kind of feel like it's the same. The rules of etiquette are a little bit behind in terms of modern day addressing. So I tell my clients, dude, this is not something to lose sleep over. This is not something to like stress about. I don't care what your parents say. This is not something that you should be like, this is a crazy scenario. Did I do this right? Because likely, I mean, I'm not changing my last name when I get married, right? Like
of which you're engaged.
Yes, y'all are engaged.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So if I have a client that has specific questions about a specific scenario, email it to me. I'll make a suggestion and I'll explain it out and give you a reason why. If you, for example, want it to be a little bit more formal, list the male first. If your friend is the female and the male that lives in her house that you have a child, that she has a child with, list the friend first. It's not, I'm getting more and more of the hand lettering and formal calligraphy requests to the like not listing out Mr. and Mrs. John Smith, where the female does not fall into the male's name. Mrs. or Miss Claire White and Mr. Aaron Bibler. If it was an invitation from my friend, she'll put my name first.
Yes.
So it's very subjective. And I always ask my clients, how formal do you want to be? How, flexibility, how much flexibility do you have? Do you want it to be stuffy? Do you want it to be exactly what Crane says? And sometimes Crane doesn't have answers to some of the questions I see.
And this is such a huge, beautiful example of when we talk about making the wedding your own. And it's not just the visuals at the wedding, right? These invitations are what they're receiving to give them a glimpse into what's going to be happening, and even into this detail of how to put the names of the guests on the invitation. I mean, I'm sure, I know probably in Nashville, there's a lot of quote traditional couples, but maybe you might get somebody from Cali, and they might be like, I just want first names. I want Michelle and Jose Luis and their address, or, Cynthia and Diane, or, however it is, or the Martinez family. I feel like this is how I always feel. And I guess it's just because how I am now, not the way I was when I was planning my wedding, but like, just go with how you talk, like go with your gut, go with who you are as a couple instead of trying to follow these etiquette books. You know what I mean? Of course, you don't want to make it confusing for the person receiving the invitation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all things to consider. And the other thing to keep in mind when you're making your list of your addresses, whether you're getting them printed or done by calligraphy, the etiquette rules from address to address can change, right? If you're sending stuff to your parents' friends and you want it to be a little more formal, do that. If you're sending it to your friends and you want it a little more lax, a little informal, do that. They don't have to be fluid throughout your whole guest list.
Oh, that's great advice, Claire. That's such great advice. Like, exactly. If it's to your, grand aunts, whatever, like make it all formal just for them.
Yeah. And they'll get excited.
Yeah.
And, this is so funny because, I'm going to go on a little tangent here.
Do it.
I started a TikTok account,
Oh yeah, I know, me too.
I do like addressing and live addressing, and I don't ever reveal real addresses, but I did a faux envelope where I'm lettering and it's recording and it's Mr. and Mrs. Aaron Bibler or whatever. That's just an example. And the amount of comments I had, hate, like trolls, like mean comments.
Really?
Like, why does the female have to become a part of the male? Like, why isn't she her own individual? And I'm like, calm down, people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a younger generation on TikTok. And I think that's where the like wedding world might be going.
Absolutely.
So, and people were just like flabbergasted that I'd even post that. And then there would be some people that would chime in, like you can tell maybe someone a little bit older, and they're like, that's the rules of etiquette. Calm down.
Yeah. And it really is dependent on where you are. Keep going. Sorry.
No. And I just let it go. I just let it keep going and let all the comments keep coming. Cause I'm like, well, this is great for,
for engagement.
Yeah. Yeah. Y'all keep talking. I'll just sit here. I'm like,
but the haters hate.
I just pay what I'm told. I just write what I'm told to write, like I don't make the rules of etiquette. So
it's
anyway,
true,
I
though.
think it's good.
It's such a hot topic. And I know that there's people that listen to this podcast who are more traditional. And then there's a lot of people that listen that are super like non-traditional. And we have a huge LGBTQ community that every guest that comes on, I'm like, listen, we got to talk to everybody here. From traditional to non-traditional to, I've even had a polyamorous, episode. I mean, so bottom line is you do you, boo.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay. All right. From Amber. What recommendations do you have for seating chart styles and formats? As an example, grouped by tables or alphabetically when you display these seating charts. In light of COVID and higher likelihood of people not being able to come last minute and maybe needing to shuffle some people around, especially for outdoor weddings where escort cards are likely to fly away. So we're talking about logistics of these little escort cards or seating charts. And this, even pre-COVID, we had last minute changes where we would like move things around. But Claire,
yes,
go.
this is my jam. All right. I'm going to start with the last part of the question because this is for you, Michelle. Outdoor weddings with escort cards. How many have you seen fly away?
So many.
Really? Okay. I'm never on site, so I don't see these things.
Well, it depends. It depends if it's a windy day, but like in San Francisco, you have wind.
Okay.
A lot. In Chicago, it's a windy city.
Windy city. Yeah. Well, so I would say that if you're worried about your escort cards flying away, chat with your wedding planner, come up with a solution. Yes. That let me jump on the seating chart question. So, okay. I used to always do seating charts by tables because it looks great. I think
do it
by tables. During COVID, I learned the hard way. It wasn't just people falling off the seating chart. It was tables being completely reorganized at the last minute. So if you have a seating chart listed by last name alphabetically, it is much easier to change a number next to their name than to change 5 people at one table moving to another table and 10. Does that make sense? So like if you have things grouped by table and you remove a table and you add in 2 small, I don't know, Michelle, this is a logistic question for you as a planner, but from my point of view and what I'm telling all my brides, let's list it alphabetically. If you have last minute changes, that's going to be easier to update and fix.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm like, I can't believe you used to do it by table name. A lot of people still every day, every time I get so many questions about this on the podcast. And as a wedding planner who's not only setting things up on the wedding day, but then helping guests be like, where am I seated? Never by table, never by table. And I've seen it and I've had to deal with the aftermath. Don't display it by table. So I would even go a step further, Claire, and say, don't display it by last name alphabetically, because there are families at a wedding, a shit ton of them, somebody with the same last name. And then they got to look for their initial.
Yeah. Well,
I do first name. I am all about a first name, last initial, and table number. That's my ideal for my clients.
You heard it here first, you guys. I have never done first name.
What?
And I don't know. That's crazy. That maybe that's like.
Wait, didn't you do it for my client last year for Charlie and Rick's wedding? Oh, my phone is tripping right now.
Maybe I shouldn't have said never. Never say never.
Never say never. That's what I tell my children.
You know what? I just write what people tell me and I put it in the order they tell me. But when I have questions before they're formatting, it's also, Michelle, I think it's something to take into consideration, the amount of guests.
Yes.
If you have a guest list of 400, that's way different than 50 people.
Agreed.
So those are questions too. Logistically, you should lean on either the event venue on how like the flow is, or like what the space would be around the seating chart itself, or your wedding planner.
Yeah.
Logistically is what's the best way, but alphabetically, one way or another is always going to be better than table.
100%. And I would say, like, if you absolutely have to have it my table, then it should be a much smaller guest count, because it's going to be easier for them to like scan and look for where. Okay, wait, where is this? Yeah. Oh God, that's a good one. We got a little controversial there, Claire.
I know. We disagreed.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Claire. No, I'm not sorry. Women, stop saying you're sorry, because that is something I've been working on. You're not
sorry.
All right. Oh, wait, was there another part of this?
No, I think we covered it.
Have you seen okay, well, let me ask you this, because this whole like escort cards flying away thing, I've seen it, you haven't seen it, but what are some other kind of unique escort card things that people have done, as opposed to just those paper tent cards, or like the wine cork thing? Everybody's doing the wine cork thing out here in Napa Valley.
Oh, okay. Tile. pieces of tile, so you have the weight to it, and that's going to hold your menu down if you have a menu on the place setting.
Cute.
We'll keep those as paperweights. So
That's
that also serves
cute.
a party favor.
Do you
And if you
literally like go to like friggin', a home supply store and go buy tiles?
Yeah, and the trick to it, this is a little tip for your DIYers out there. Get the tile that comes on a sheet that would be used as a backsplash.
Oh yeah.
Stick it in hot water, let it soak, pull it off the backsplash. That's going to be cheaper than buying per tile at a local, like at a
Individual. Interesting. And then what do you use to write on those? Just
I use calligraphy ink, but you can also use like a paint pen or an acrylic based ink pen.
oh yeah, because those will stay on the acrylic. And then do you have to like paint over them to seal them or anything, or just that's just like that?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that, Claire.
Yeah.
Okay, what
And
else?
my question for you, when the escort cards start flying away, like, do people chase that? Do they like chase them?
No, I
Or
do, or my assistant does, or
Okay.
or people will do like what I said. These you see them on Etsy. It's like you take your old wine corks, you become a wino the year you're, leading
Yeah.
up to your wedding. You save these friggin' wine corks, and you see how to do it everywhere. You slice off one side of them to make them flat. You put a slit in them, and you slide the card. Okay, great. They're not good. They still roll over in the wind. Like
Okay. Yeah.
freaking dominoes. They don't
Yeah.
necessarily always fall off the table, but they frigging roll over like dominoes. And then there goes your photo that you wanted of it. And then there's me or my assistant trying to tick, 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 put them all back up. And then
Yep.
while we're setting them out, there's a good gust of wind and we're like, God damn it. And then we end up just laying them all down because they're going to fall anyway.
Yeah.
Hate to burst your
True
bubble
behind
cork,
the
people.
scenes. True behind the scenes right
Yeah.
there.
What else besides tiles? Anything else? I've seen rocks.
Rocks, is it agate or gate slices?
Who?
The like stone, they make like bookends out of them. Like geologist looking stones.
Oh, like those crystal thingies.
Yeah.
Those, oh my God. A geologist is going to be like, what is wrong with you people? Yeah, I know what you're saying. Granite, not granite. Oh, what's the name of it? It's like pretty. Okay.
You could do, so I'm going to hold this up because it's sitting right next to me. Handmade paper with a tassel on it. So the tassel will give it some weight. So it doesn't fly away. Hence the little tassel.
And the little tassel. And then that could be a cute little bookmark. Or
Yes.
hang it from your rear view mirror in your car.
Yeah, people keep these things.
Yeah.
I'm currently working on testing out these keychains.
Oh, those are so cute, like the old school hotel keychains. I love those. And then getting a big board with hooks and putting them on there. That's cute. I love that.
On it. So yeah, anything with some weight to it is great in my opinion. I've done like little succulent pots where I put the name on the pot, like the little minions.
Yep. Those keychains I'm loving, Claire, by the way, because I would use that and they're really cool designed.
Oh yeah, they're super fun. And the client, it's a Knoxville stationer that reached out to me. She's like, can you write on these? Because obviously you can print on them.
Yeah.
And I'm testing out some different inks on it today. So
fun.
I'll share that on my stories.
Share it. Okay, good. All right. Okay, let's move to the next question. Oh yeah. Okay. From Jessica. Recommendations on what information to actually include on the invites / inserts with COVID. What are the new rules? This is a whole different, actually, that's another question. But yeah, because somebody else had put, where did that go? Somebody else had put something like, why is it bad form to add the reception invitation to the invite suite? Why do people recommend mailing them separately? That's from Cassie. Can you elaborate on that? I don't know why that's bad. I've seen the reception insert.
Reception insert should be on a separate card than the actual invitation, but don't mail them separately.
No, just Cassie, don't mail them separately. Same envelope.
Maybe rehearsal dinner.
Oh, maybe she's thinking rehearsal dinner.
Because some clients will do rehearsal dinners separate. We tell our clients if the same people are hosting the wedding and the rehearsal dinner, I say put it all in one invitation.
Oh, really? To the
I
different
mean,
events?
if it's a different host and it's coming from a different person,
Yeah.
I mean, technically you should put it separately, but we have people that put it together. And I would say for the question regarding, let me see, what to actually include on the inserts, your insert, no matter what it is, if it's a huge details card, a map only, an RSVP card that the client keeps where they can just log in and RSVP online, always, always, always include your website. Always, always, always.
Yeah.
Website, lean into your website in this COVID world. Once something is put into print, you don't want to have to reprint it. You can tell people, go to my website.
Yeah. Yeah. Website is so important.
So important. We still have clients that are like, nah, I'm not really into the website thing. Okay.
Yeah.
You're burying your own, digging your own grave there, but websites, always put that. That is the one thing I would say to always include on the insert is the website.
Okay. All right. There you go. Okay. This is interesting from Natasha. What's the etiquette for sending out two different versions of your invitations? One set for, in her case, the bride's family, and a different set for the groom's side. I feel like certain family members need to be told specific things and others do not, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. But I also, Michelle, this kind of goes back to the question you sent me a while ago through email.
Yeah, which I wanted to talk about that one too.
Your invitation, you are hosting a wedding for these guests. You do not need to be explaining things in different terminologies for different guests.
Mm-hmm.
That is a phone call. If they ask, that is a text message. If, say, for example, you want no kids at the wedding and you put on your insert card, this is an adult only affair, but you think another guest needs it to be spelled out, do not bring your children. That's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Because you're the one stressing about that. You're the one as the bride paying to have two different prints done on these invitations. You can spell out whatever you want on your website in clearest terms. And at the end of the day, we all have those family members and we all have those friends that you're going to have to shoot a quick text and be like, hey, heads up.
Yeah.
Everyone. But that is not a reason to change your design, your printing, to change anything regarding your invitations.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I feel like a lot of people feel for some reason guilty or anticipate some anger or irritation from their guests before they even send things out. And
right.
Half the time it's not as bad as what you're building it up to be in your head. As an example, people who are like, I really want to require that people are vaccinated to come to the wedding. I know people are going to be pissed, but you know what? Like, they're probably not going to be pissed. And the majority of those people are actually going to feel really great about attending your wedding because they're going to know that there's a level of safety added in there for them. So I totally agree with you. And I do want to read that question I sent to you. This is from one of our Patreon members, and she reached out and I answered. And then I even went to you to make sure that we were on the same page, because she's a Patreon member and she gives a little hard-earned money every month. So her question was, I'm having a private ceremony with just our immediate family and then having a reception with everyone later in the day. I've been called, quote, selfish for wanting this moment to be intimate for my fiance and I. With over 300 dance students and my fiance being a local race car driver, we always have eyes on us and want this moment to be just us. Do you have any suggestions on how to word it in a polite way on our invitations that our ceremony will be closed? So this is actually a pretty common scenario lately. People are having small ceremonies
Mm-hmm.
and then having, a big party.
Yeah.
And you said,
I was like, that cat meme where the cat's like going crazy with its hands and it's like angry messaging. I was like standing up for this bride, like, this is my thoughts on this, Michelle, sitting up in bed at night, answering this email.
Yeah. Yeah. So should I just read what you put? I'm just going to read it.
Sure. Yeah, you go for it.
You said, we've had 2 brides recently go this exact same route. Instead of having any type of explanation, they just send one set of invitations to the smaller group for the ceremony, a reception details card, and a separate invitation to the larger group for the reception, where the reception invitation is clear that it's just the reception, using terms like, quote, let's celebrate, or quote, we got married, time to celebrate, and making it less formal than a wedding invitation. We haven't had any type of request to put an explanation on the reception invitation when it is done this way, which I encourage. You don't have to explain yourself. It's your day. Providing an explanation almost brings more attention to the issue than what's necessary, and it makes the invitation a bit less of an invitation and more of an apology. What a good answer.
That is the best answer ever.
You did a good job. And she was really very happy about this. And she said, that's exactly what I needed to hear. I always over-explain myself. So yeah. That's awesome. It's so funny doing this, Claire, because when I first started asking for wedding questions from people, at first I was like, oh, it's because they need this technical information. But a lot of the times they need to just like hear that it's okay, you're going to be all right, or this is a common trait of yours, of your personality. Let's just, take the emotions out of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right. Nika.
I like this question.
Yeah. She says, any advice on mailing invites abroad? My save the dates took 6 weeks to get to parts of Europe.
Yeah. If you are spending money a lot, say you have a beautiful invitation suite that you want to make sure gets abroad in, I guess, in a beautiful way, and maybe a little bit quicker, put it in a flat mailer and mail it with more postage as a parcel. That's the best. That's the best I can tell you. I wish I could like control the postmasters of every country, but I can't. And we just tell our brides, like, if you want it to stay pretty and you want it to get there in a reasonable time, mail it as a parcel.
So yeah, putting that manila padded envelope over it and sending it, paying a little more for it to get there more directly and quickly, as opposed to going through all of the different mailing systems.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah. Would you say send it like, dare I say, UPS?
Well, I love UPS. And UPS is actually, they're the best in my mind in terms of parcel shipping. Or you get some money back. FedEx, they don't. They're like, it'll get there when it gets there. In the world of COVID and what we're dealing with shipping delays right now, send it UPS, and you can get like a cheap like flat mailer from your local supply store for like $1. Yeah, pop it in there. You don't even have to like write a note or anything. Just put it inside the flat mailer, pay the extra fee, and it'll get there and it'll be beautiful. And I guarantee your guests will be so happy that you did that.
Yeah. So good. Okay, good. And last question. Oh, this is very similar to the last one. But she did say, is it okay to add an insert about a welcome party in the invitation suite? You did mention this earlier. Oh, no, wait. Stop. Amanda.
Yeah.
Amanda, this is great. Do I have to include physical RSVPs, or can I just have people go online? I don't want to be tacky, but also think this could save a good bit of money and time.
Yes. Okay. Love this question. RSVP, the trend is we are seeing 50% of our brides do an online RSVP.
Yep.
And the other half doing a traditional RSVP. There is not a right or wrong answer, in my opinion, in this day and age where we are all leaning into our wedding websites. You will save money if you do an RSVP online.
Yep.
This is why you're not paying for the little extra envelope to be mailed back to you. You're not paying for the printing on that envelope, and you're not paying for the postage for it to come back to you. That is 3 line items you are going to save.
And that little RSVP card itself, the separate little printed
right.
card. Yeah.
So what we tell our clients, let's combine your details and RSVP into one card and have the detail notes and RSVP online notes. We even had a bride recently do a QR code on it where it's just like, go to our website.
Oh, that's amazing.
Everything's there. And I was really excited because she had a very traditional suite, an invitation suite, but she's like, we're not dealing with it. The post office is a mess. I don't want to wait for RSVPs to come back. Yeah.
You just blew my mind with the QR freaking code, because we all know the QR codes now because we're using them at restaurants.
Yeah.
And all over the friggin' place.
Love it. And the other thing too, we hear a lot of our clients say, I have a lot of older guests. They're not going to go to a website. And my response to that is like, hey, give them credit. We're all living in a world right now where we have to be online. They will figure it out. If they want to come to your wedding, they will RSVP online. Trust me. So I say lean into it. If you're trying to save a little bit of money, put your, the money that you saved somewhere else into your big day. If you're not like, I have to have my RSVPs mailed back to me. So
how did you create, or do you know how she created the QR code? I don't know how to create a QR code. Do you?
There's tell me you found a website.
Okay.
There's a QR code creator, and I'm sure there's some sort of fees and subscription fees involved with it, but we did it. And then when we got her RSVP, we got those cards back from print. I was like, oh, let's test this out before we give these to her. And they worked. So
that is genius. Holy freaking crap. You blew my mind with it.
Really fun.
That's huge.
Save your money if you're not into the physical RSVPs. And yeah, I think that's great.
And that's just a way to get people to go to your wedding website. Like this question for Cassie about putting an insert about the welcome party in the invitation suite. You can, right? I mean, if you're inviting everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not, and you just want to pop it in certain invitations, do it.
Yes. Just in certain invitations. True. QR code, dude. This is like huge for me. I don't know why this is so exciting for me.
I'll get
Claire.
Tommy to email you how she did that.
Email it to me. I'm dying right now. I'm like, this is a whole new world. I'm so excited.
Love it. I love these little simple things that make you so happy, Michelle.
It makes me so happy, Claire. Oh my God. Okay. We answered all the questions.
Woohoo, we made it. That was so lovely. And those are like the best questions. And those are questions we get all the time.
Yes.
So I love it.
I love it too. And I love you. Thank you for so much for coming on.
I miss you.
I miss you too.
You do another happy hour on your Instagram live and I'll jump in one day.
Oh yeah. Let's do a live together. Let's do it. All right. Claire, whiteinkcalligraphy.com.
Yeah.
Right.
That's us. If you are interested in any of our printing services, or if you are local to Nashville and interested in signage services, we're here for you. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, that's where I'm at all the time. Michelle knows I have a pretty steady Instagram presence.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of tips on there for brides. You'll see a lot of stuff about my dog.
Yeah, and he's so sweet, Remy.
I'm also a bride myself. So
I know. What's going on with your wedding plans, by the way?
Top secret.
Okay.
But we're eloping. Yeah.
You're so smart.
It gets so political when you work in the industry.
I know.
And I don't want to seem like I'm giving, favoritism to certain planners or vendors that I work with so many. And when I got to thinking about that, about having to bring someone in from out of town, I'd have to fly you in, Michelle, to be my
Yeah.
wedding planner.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I'd fly myself in. I just want to go to Nashville. But I totally get it. I
Yeah.
totally get it, Claire. Wait,
So
can I not include this on the podcast? Is this
no, do it.
okay? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's hard. It's like, who do I work with? And when do I do it? Because I'm so friggin' busy during wedding
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. We're thinking it's going to be December and we're leaning towards Hawaii.
Yes.
So I had a friend tell me that there's killer waves in Hawaii that time of the year. And I'm like, I don't care about the water. It's
I'm
fine.
all, wait, are you gonna go surfing?
No. But
Nope.
she was like, if you want to spend time in the water and like scuba diving or like snorkeling, like it's gonna be really rocky with all the waves. And I was
Ah.
like, yeah, I'm not that my fiance is more of a water person than me, but I'm like, he'll be fine.
I'll be drinking a pina colada on the beach while I watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm doing a traditional, oh, not a, I'm doing like an elopement style dress. And I'll have like a bouquet and a photographer, and it's just the two of us. We're not inviting family.
Oh my God, I love it, Claire.
Yeah. So we are very, very excited.
That's awesome. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. Thank
A
you.
lot has happened to you since 2018 when we met
Yeah,
at your cute little
girlfriend.
house in
Yeah.
Nashville. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, lady. Well, thank you again. And thank you to everybody who sent these questions from our Facebook community. If you're not in our Facebook community, go quickly because those people in there are amazing, like insanely helpful and supportive and just our vibe. So search the Big Wedding Planning Podcast Facebook community. Okay.
Love it.
And find White Ink Calligraphy on Instagram because you post the best stories and you have the best inspirational photos. And yeah, you're awesome. Thank you, Claire.
Awesome. It's so good seeing you, Michelle, and talking
You
to you.
too.
And we'll get together soon.
Okay. Bye, everybody.